All right. So I wanted to go through the syllabus with you guys, just give a brief overview, emphasize some important aspects. A lot of this should be pretty familiar to you. Most teachers used a very similar setup for their syllabi this year, so it shouldn't look too different. But here it is. Got my emails up here. Email me anytime if you need anything. I'm pretty quick at getting back to you. Honestly, if you email me after like 8 o'clock at night, I probably won't get back to you until the next morning. But during the day, I'm pretty quick. So if you ever need anything, there's my email. Here's our Google Classroom code. You probably won't ever need it because I invited you guys all, but it's there in case something happens. So here you guys have the current week of work split into cohort A and then cohort B and full remote. I am asking that my full remote or cohort C students follow the cohort B schedule because my cohort B in-person classes are very small. So I felt like I wanted to give them the opportunity of having more peers to interact with, which means that remote students, you are expected to Zoom in on Thursdays and Fridays during our scheduled class time. If this is an issue, then you need to email me and let me know ASAP. But what I have done this semester that I didn't do last semester was, instead of posting like week 2 up above and having this one still, and then you'd have to scroll down a million, like forever, through a bunch, I just piled up each week on the syllabus. What I've done this time is I have put together, I have a link here and this is where I'm going to keep all past weekly assignments. So if we're on like week 3 and you realized you didn't do something from week 1, if you click here, you can find all of those assignments again. So you'll notice that cohort A, we're going to kick off class with a viewing of a TED Talk called The Danger of a Single Story. We're going to have a little bit of a discussion about it. And then for homework, you're actually going to watch this overview. Hi. And take a quiz about it. And rather than wasting our precious in-class time that we have to do this. And then we're going to dive right into our first unit on Tuesday. Cohort B kids, you guys should be doing this. This should be Monday or Tuesday that you guys are watching this syllabus overview and taking the quiz. Note, right now, Wednesdays are still remote. That is highly likely going to change. But right now, it's still remote. I think even if we do come in Wednesdays in person, it will likely be a catch-up day or a day to start your remote work with having access to meet in person. So not too much is going to change, but while we're remote, for your office hours, I'm going to link, I haven't yet, but I'm going to put a link where it says sign up here to a You Can Book Me page, which when you get there, it will show you, it'll have a calendar and it'll give you all my available times to meet on a given Wednesday. Click on the time. It asks you for like your name, your email, and then I think I put a question up there that was like, why are you setting up this meeting? So just like let me know what it's about. And click submit, and you'll have your meeting booked, and I'll send you the Zoom link for that once I get your thing. Try to sign up in advance. Obviously, if it's Wednesday morning and you're looking over and you realize you don't understand something, you can hop on and see if there are times available. If there aren't, and it's dire and you really need to talk to me, send me an email. I can very likely meet at a different time that is not listed. But shoot me an email. If not, we can work something out. But Your remote days will have activities and lessons to go along with them. You need to be checking Google Classroom every single day to see what you need to be doing. You need to be looking at the syllabus. You need to be looking at our course website. You need to be looking at Google Classroom. That is where you're going to know what you need to do. So, for example, remote work this week for my cohort A kids, you guys have a video lesson on internal and external monsters. You have to complete a question sheet, and then you have an activity to do on Friday. And this is all based on what we do on Tuesday. And my cohort being full remote, you guys will be doing that the following week on Mondays and Tuesdays. I decided not to do classes as synchronous. I did that last semester with some of my classes, and it really didn't work out well. The kids got very overwhelmed, and so I went back to asynchronous in hopes of kind of not overwhelming you guys as much. We talked about the past weekly assignments. Materials needed, pretty much, the same as any. You have your laptop charged. Headphones that connect to your laptop, those are, you want those so that if you need to, on a Wednesday, you're sitting in class because we're back in person, because that I think is going to happen eventually, and you need to rewatch a video, you have headphones that are going to connect to your laptop. Pens and pencils, highlighters and colored pens are optional but highly recommended. A binder or folder for handouts. So there's minimal handouts, like very minimal, but there probably will be some. And if there ever needs to be a time where we need to do something on paper, because the internet's down or whatever, you're going to want something to put your work in. So I suggest really a folder. I don't think you're going to need a full-fledged binder for this class by any means. But a folder is good, just so that your papers aren't flying all over your backpack and you don't lose anything. If any materials that you cannot get access to, just shoot me an email and let me know, and I will do my best to provide them for you. Section 3, academic integrity. This should be on every syllabus all the time, and you should know this like the back of your hand. Plagiarism and cheating. Plagiarism is using and stealing intentionally or unintentionally another person's ideas, concepts, research, pictures, graphs, statistics, etc., without in-text documentations on a works cited page. When in doubt, cite your sources. Okay. Cheating. You're copying another student's work as your own. You're using your phone or your laptop, or you're going to apps or sites to do the work for you during an assignment or an assessment. Guys, it's super obvious when you share papers with each other, and then you try to change things. So don't do that, because that counts as cheating. You really don't want to be caught plagiarizing or cheating, so don't do it at all. Your first offense, you've got 6 consequences for just doing this once. You need to have a meeting with myself and an administrator. Your parents are notified. Your other teachers are notified. There is a notation placed in your PowerSchool information file. You will receive a 50 for the assignment. You need to redo the assignment. If you redo the assignment, then it will be averaged with the 50, so it's going to be a lot lower. If you choose not to redo the work, you get a 50 on it. Any more offenses and steps 1 through 4 are followed again, and you can't make up the assignment. It's a 50, no matter what. Coming down to student expectations, you guys should all know the COVID school-wide SOPs. If you're new and you don't, click on this nice lovely link here and it will bring you to them. So a few things. Full remote learners, you are following the cohort B assignment and deadline schedule. If for some reason that is an issue, you need to let me know ASAP. You are expected to zoom into your scheduled class period on cohort B days unless otherwise notified. If you cannot make asynchronous class, you need to let me know via email as soon as possible. All assignments are due by 7:50 the following morning unless otherwise instructed. And by I really mean the following school morning. So, obviously if I give you an assignment on a Friday, it'll be due on a Monday. All work must be completed in Google Classroom using Google Docs, slides, and sheets. I will not accept assignments attached in PDF pages or Keynote format, no exceptions. If you turn in an assignment in one of those formats, it will be marked as a 50. Hybrid expectations, you are to follow your specific cohort assignment and deadline schedule. If you are absent, you are expected to Zoom in during your scheduled class time, unless you're on your deathbed or like you have a doctor's appointment or something. But like if you're a close contact and you're put into quarantine, you are expected to Zoom in during your scheduled class time that you would be there in person. Notify me ASAP if you cannot do that. All work must be completed in Google Classroom, again, using Google Docs, slides, and sheets, no PDF pages, Keynote, etc. Additional expectations for all students. You are required to read teacher-assigned text inside and outside of class. You will be required to write and read both inside and outside of class. You are expected to interact with all peers, both in person and remotely, as well as across cohorts. Students are expected to stay on task and turn in work by the deadline in order to keep up with the workload. This is really important. You guys have work on remote days. You need to be sure that you are completing it. Your remote days are not days to go work at your job. That's not what they're for. You are supposed to be in school on those days. Therefore, you need to be taking the time to do the work that is scheduled for those days. If not, you're going to get really far behind. You are expected to communicate any issues with the teacher and develop a plan of action for any late work. So email me. I can be pretty flexible. If something happens and you're not going to get it turned in on time, send me an email so that I'm aware. Problems really come when you don't communicate things with me. You should know about student grading and evaluation. It's been the same for the past few years now. If you don't, you can take a look through this on your own. This year, late penalties, at this point you should know, but I would like to reiterate that if you do not complete the week's assignments by the due date, I will contact you to make a plan to get caught up. Your parents will be contacted if you fail a summative or if you aren't turning anything in. For students in the hybrid model, if you haven't completed it by the due date, your attendance during flex period is mandatory that week. I would like to add, in addition to this, if you are remote and you haven't been handing in, that you are going to have a required meeting with me on Zoom that week at some point. So be aware of that. And even though there aren't late points, you need to be aware that it will impact your student responsibility grade if you have late assignments. And, anything that's late, it'll be marked as missing at Power School until you turn it in. Student responsibility grade, this is pretty similar to what we've used, minus the fact that we're looking at both virtual and in-person this year. I'm sure that most of the other classes have used this, but this is really important. This is not a grade to blow off. It's 20% of your final grade, and this is like the real world stuff. This is what your work, your job expects of you, and this is what we expect of you. And so it's not something to blow off. You're arriving to in-person and virtual classes with the proper materials ready to learn on time. You're completing assignments on time, and you're letting me know if you can't come. It's like if you can't go into work, you tell your boss, you call out sick. You don't just not show up, right? You're engaging in classroom or remote activities. You're participating in classroom discussions as well as online discussions while in remote learning. You're committing to continuous growth through reflective revision. You're demonstrating perseverance and positivity through challenges. If you get overwhelmed with the workload and you just stop doing everything, that's not demonstrating perseverance. Please email me and talk to me and communicate with me. I can't help you if you don't tell me what's going on or let me know that you're feeling overwhelmed. So, in order to really demonstrate that perseverance, if things get hard, you need to communicate that with me. Interactions with peers and teachers demonstrates respect to others in all learning environments. You share responsibility during collaborative tasks. You provide constructive feedback and support to other students, and you're following all classroom and school SOPs. And there's the grading scale, and that's it for our syllabus. If you have any questions about anything, let me know.